Yo, what's up guys? Your boy Annie Z with What If Ash started with Mew Part 4. This will be the end of the Johto League. So last time we saw Ash continue to dominate the Johto leaders, catching all the Johto legendaries, and then he went to train in Mount Silver. So let's get started. After training in Mount Silver for the next 3 months, Ash had got his team to level 100. He also decided he would only be using his Johto Pokemon for the league. He will have Mew just in case, but he doubted he would need Mew's power because he had trust in his Pokemon. When Ash was about to leave the Mount Silver to go to the Silver Conference, he saw AJ protecting a Larvitar from some Pokemon poachers. He saw the poachers shoot a net at AJ and his companion, the person who he fought before in the Water Cup, Misty, and the gym leader Brock. After that, they also used a net to capture Larvitar and Tyranitar, the one that AJ was protecting. Ash got closer and he heard how they were gonna sell these two clients who would torture the little Larvitar as a means for it to evolve, and also giving a motive to the Tyranitar to fight. Ash was getting angry after hearing the poacher's plan and sent out his Pokemon Mew. Mew, use Psychic on the poachers, Ash yells, knocking out the poachers who didn't expect them to be attacked. That's Ash Ketchum, the legendary master. He's the winner of the Indigo League, Brock yells as AJ got angry. Ash always had to show him up somehow. Ash then contacts the authority and has them take them away. Hey Ash, I'll show everyone in the Johto League that you aren't unbeatable and that the power of the legendaries are just that, legends, AJ says. I know they aren't invincible, but why do you think I haven't challenged the Elite Four yet? I'm still training to get them powerful enough to beat them. But compared to a novice like you, they might as well be invincible. But remember something, AJ, the loudest dog has the weakest bite. Stop trying to impress me and work on impressing yourself. And we see you at the league, Ash says as he walks away. When he was out of distance, he sent out his ho-ho and flew away. Meanwhile, with AJ in the group, I can't believe that cheat, Misty says. I know, right, AJ says. All he does is use legendary Pokemon, Misty yells. Ash then continues his journey to the Silver Town, where on the way he made some stops. Right now he made a quick stop to the Ho-Ho Shrine, where he met Harrison, a trainer from the Hoenn region. He also saw AJ, who glared at him. Ash sighed. He didn't know how he got into a rivalry with him. All he did was beat the guy. However, from behind comes another figure, Ash's friend and rival Gary. Behind AJ came Misty and Brock. So it's Mr. Cheat. You have to use legendaries for everything, Misty says, as Gary surprisingly defended Ash. Look, he caught his Pokemon himself, so he's not cheating, Gary says. And also, Ash says, I only have legendaries because my starter was a Mew, which was a legendary or a mythical. And what is the problem with using legendaries? Just because they won't show themselves to someone like you or your friends, and you're not skilled enough to get one, don't take it out on me, Ash says. The problem is you. You used Suicune to beat the Water Cup. I should have beaten it. I could have easily showed my sisters that I was something. I betted with them that I'd win, and you made me lose, making me a laughingstock, Misty says. Well, it's not like you didn't know what was gonna come. I mean, everyone knows what's to come when Ash Ketchum, the legendary master, is gonna battle a legendary. So as soon as you heard that I was in the tournament, you should have resigned and accepted defeat, Ash says, as Misty tried to charge at him with a mallet, only for a pink glow to surround her and send her flying back as the mallet hit AJ. Thanks, Mew, Ash says. And you, don't think that you can abuse me like you do with your boy toys. I'm not going to let you take your anger out on me. Try that again and I'll have my Pokemon rip you apart before delivering you to Jenny. My basic human rights allow me protection from lunatics like you. You should be in a mental asylum. Plus, I don't understand how you're related to your sweet sisters when you're just a violent animal, Ash says, pissing off Misty, who had Brock hold her down. As after Ash left, Brock went up to Misty. Listen, Misty, we let you hit us because you're our friend, and we know that's how you cook, but you can't just attack a random stranger who hasn't done anything, Brock says. Talk about yourself, Brock. Hasn't done anything. He stopped my win streak, and then he humiliated me with his Mewtwo in front of millions in the Indigo League, AJ says as Brock sighed at the two's childish behaviour. Just don't go pissing off a fan favourite, it isn't a good idea, especially one that has more power than you will ever have, Brock says. as AJ started fighting with Brock. After that, Ash arrived at the Silver Town only to find out that in a fight between Gary, AJ and Harrison against Machamp, Sneasel and Machoke, who was preventing anyone from entering the shrine, the fools managed to blow out the flames. Ash sighed as he waited for the Pokemon speech to start from Mr. Goodshaw about the Silver Conference. Due to some errors, the Johto tradition of using the legendary Pokemon Ho-Ho's flames to symbolize the starting of the Silver Conference, the league will be delayed for a bit, Mr. Goodshaw says. Wait, I've got an idea, Ash says, shouting. Ah yes, Mr. Ketchum, champion of the Indigo League. Please, how can I help you, Goodshaw says. As AJ started to laugh, saying something about how Ash finally getting what he deserves and making an idiot out of himself, making eyes of Ash twitch. Firstly, this wasn't what I was going to say, but you, AJ, have said something about me being an idiot. Tell me, have you learnt how to tell your Pokemon to use their full power yet, or do you need someone to make it clear to you again? Ash says, making him get angry as the crowd started to laugh at AJ. Now on to what I was going to say before I was rudely interrupted by an imbecile. If it's Ho-Ho's flames you need, I can provide it, Ash says. No way, he didn't. He couldn't have. I understand the legendary birds and the legendary dogs, if he even has the legendary dogs, and also Mewtwo and to a lesser degree Mew. But Ho-Ho, that is definitely just a legend, was what people were saying as AJ grinned, thinking that Ash was going to make himself into an idiot. Come on, I mean, we all know he's lying, AJ says. But when Ash took out his Pokeball and sent out Ho-Ho, he was shocked as well as everyone else. It can't be. It exists. That boy has to be a chosen one. AJ fell to the ground in shock and fear, so did Misty as Gary smiled at him. Harrison was dumbfounded as he saw the legendary master have one of the most revered Pokemon of the Johto region. Ho-Ho, use Sacred Flame, Ash yelled as it lit the area, and Ash recalled it. Well, would you look at that? It seems our resident legendary master has the legendary Rainbow Phoenix Pokemon, Goodshaw says. Ash and then looked at AJ and Misty and then said, now who's the idiot? Ash easily wrecks the preliminary rounds with just Ho-Ho, getting Ho-Ho used to battling with other trainers since Ash had only ever used it against wild Pokemon. And these trainers were, when compared to him, cannon fodder. We start with Ash against Macy. Ash uses his Suicune to take out both Slugma and Quilava with a single Hydro Pump. She then sends out Electivire, who's followed by a full power Ice Beam from Suicune. Ash then goes on to face Misty, who wanted revenge, and speeded off to collect badges to humiliate Ash and get revenge. But what she didn't count was Ash was a way better trainer than her. I didn't think I'd have my chance to take my revenge on you so quickly, she says, as Ash just smirks at her, pissing her off. Ash did this on purpose. An angry opponent is the stupid one. Misty sends out Starmie, with Ash sending out Raikou, shocking her. Looks like Ash Ketchum has not just the legendary of Kanto, Ho-Ho and Suicune, but he also has the legendary Pokemon Raikou. What does he also have? Entei and Lugia? What, that couldn't be? The commentator says, you, I hate you. Why do you have all these legendaries? You can't be normal. Use normal Pokemon. Misty yells, I'm unique. Normal's boring. You're boring, Ash says, pissing off Misty, who uses a water gun. Ash lets Raikou tank it, showing Misty that it never did anything before using Thunderbolt to beat Starmie. Misty sends out Gyarados. Ash starts to laugh seeing it, making Misty lose herself even more to anger. Are you an idiot? Sending out a water and flying type against an electric type? You're joking, right? Ash says, pissing her off more and more as she grabs a mallet and starts to whack what looks like an invisible man. Basically, she was whacking the air like a lunatic, as everybody started laughing how she was a lunatic, as Misty got even more pissed. She then had Gyarados use Dragon Rage. Raikou dodged it and used Thunderbolt, beating it. Misty sends out Blastoise. That was part of the Squirtle squad, not the leader since AJ had the leader, but just the known Blastoise. Ash, having enough, has it use Thunder, soloing Blastoise and beating it. You might have beaten me now, but I will get my revenge, Misty says, as Ash sighed, wishing that these people would just let him be. Even being rude doesn't send them away from him. In fact, it brings them even more closer. What does he have to be to keep them away from him? Nice? As if, Ash thought. Ash then got qualified for the top 16 and sees he's battling AJ. Ash sighed knowing that it was going to be another easy win. AJ decided to take Brock's advice and not speak with Ash and not get angry at the words that he says and focus on the battle, as he too saw Ash bait Misty into anger, making her lose faster than normal. AJ starts off with Meganium, which Ash sends out Ho-Ho. Hey AJ, just for this battle, I won't switch Pokemon. Just to be fair, I mean I shouldn't bully a noob. Ash tried taunting, but raised his eyebrows when it didn't work. He then mentally smirked. Maybe the idiot was finally growing up. Ash has Ho-Ho use Sacred Fire. At the same time, AJ commands his Pokemon to use Wine Whip, but Ho-Ho, having better speed stats and being a high level, soloed Meganium with his attack, landing it first. AJ sends out Snorlax as Ash uses Ho-Ho and has it use Air Slash, followed up with the Sacred Fire, point blank, as Snorlax tanked the hit but was barely left standing. Snorlax quickly used Giga Impact, damaging Ho-Ho a bit, but Ash had it use Burn Up, finishing off Snorlax. AJ sends out a shiny Noctowl and has it use Air Slash. Ash counters with his own Sky Attack and then Burn Up. AJ sends out Typhlosion and has it use Flame Wheel. Ash has his Ho-Ho use Hyper Beam, ending the Typhlosion. AJ gets angry and sends up Feraligatr and has it use Hydro Pump. Ash, not expecting it, allowed the Hydro Pump to connect. Ho-Ho had some visible damage, but not that much. Solar Beam, Ash retaliated with, knocking out Feraligatr. AJ sends out Heracross and then taps his Megastone, forcing it to Mega Evolve. Rock Slide, AJ commanded, making it connect with Ho-Ho, who fell to the ground. But after it saw Ash cheering it on, it got up as Ash commanded it to use Burn Up. Burn the bug. AJ got angry as he shaked his fists in anger. I will beat you next time, Ash, he yelled and ran. Ash was in deep thought. Ho-Ho almost lost. He then took Ho-Ho to the Pokemon Center, having it healed. Nurse Joy told Ash that it wasn't that badly damaged before he let it out and apologized it for forcing to battle like a machine instead of like a friend. Ho-Ho embraced its trainer, accepting that it did nothing wrong. Ash finally learned that his Pokemon were more than just battlers, they were his friends. He smiled, thinking that the fool showed him this. Perhaps next time he'll go easy on the guy. Nah, Ash thought. Then moves on to his next round against Harrison. So the legendary master, it's an honor to face you, Harrison says. Let's see if you're strong, Ash replies, as Harrison sends out Cacleon and Ash sends out Entei, shocking everyone. Well, would you look at that? Not only does Ash have the legendary bird trio, but he also has the legendary dog trio. What next? The legendary Lugia? The commentator says. Entei, use Eruption, Ash shouted as it heavily damaged Cacleon. Cacleon uses Arctotail, but Ash has Entei dodge and then use Fire Blast, knocking it out. Ash's next opponent was a Hypno that Harrison had used Poison Gas and Psychic to poison Entei and then send it flying away. Ash then has Entei quickly finish it with a dual Fire Blast, Rapid Fire, knocking it out. Harrison then sends out Houndoom. It then uses Bite as Ash has Entei shake it off and then use Bulldoze, knocking it out. Harrison then sent in Steelix, which was knocked out by a Fire Blast from Entei, leaving Harrison to his final Pokemon. Harrison sends out Blaziken, who Mega Evolves, who uses a high jump kick. Entei uses a Crunch to catch the kick and got a little bit damaged and then threw Blaziken to the ground. He used Bulldoze, beating it, as Entei dropped to his knees, the Poison Tiki effect, but Ash has won the match. Ash then moves on to the finals, with Ash facing Gary. Before this happened, he rolled his Entei. So Gary, it's time, Ash says. So Ashy, let's see who's the best, Gary. Gary, just a warning, I'm going to be using one of my Pokemon. Let's see if you can try and take it out, Ash says, as he sent out his Lugia, scaring Gary. It seems that Ash has every Johto legendary as well. I can't believe it. The master of Kanto's legendary and Johto's legendaries, the commentator says, as the crowd was shocked and scared. Lugia takes out Magmortar with a few Hydro Pumps, and it does the same thing to Golem when Gary sends it out next. Gary then sends out Nidoqueen, and Ash had Lugia use Avalanche, beating it once again. Gary couldn't believe how badly Ash was beat. He saw Ash wasn't holding back like the others. He saw Ash had fires in his eyes like Ash wanted to prove something. Gary knew what it was. It was their rivalry. He wanted to show that he was the best of Pallet Town. Gary uses his Sizzle, his second last Pokemon, as Ash uses Avalanche to beat it once again. Gary then sends out Blastoise and has it Mega Evolve. Gary then uses Hydro Cannon, sending Lugia to the ground as it had some visible damage on it. As it recovered with ease, Ash had it use Giga Drain, heavily damaging Blastoise. And Blastoise needed to recharge, so Ash uses Giga Drain, but it missed. Gary used Hydro Cannon again, bringing Lugia down to half health before Lugia used Giga Drain winning the match and getting his health back. Ash Ketchum has won his second league. Can anyone beat this trainer? The commentator says, as everyone was watching. Even the Elite Four and Lance was watching, and they thought that they should start training if they wanted to give the so-called legendary master the time of his life and put on a good show for people who were watching. After that, Ash got his trophy and went to him. So guys, before we end this video, the next part, the Hone Adventures, will take some time as the arc is really long. Alright, peace.